Oliver, welcome to People Legal.
Thanks, David.
So good to see you in London.
Likewise. Long overdue.
We had a long old trip to get here. Yeah, we're at the conference. How is it for you?
It's great. Yeah, this is our first year at this conference, but it is absolutely buzzing. Definitely feels like the biggest conference I've been to in the UK. And just a lot going on. There's a DJ as you walked in.
Really? I didn't see the DJ.
Yeah, there's a wine bar that people are already diving into at 11 a.m. So,
yeah. It's going to be an interesting conference by the end of the day. We met a couple of years ago, and what was really interesting about you, Oliver, was actually your journey into legal tech, how you got this. I mean, for our listeners, I guess, give a bit of intro.
Yeah, so I, as you know, didn't come from a legal tech background. So I actually came to the UK through an MBA. So I did my MBA here, and my wife and I wanted to live in London. So that was always the plan. That's why I chose the UK for an MBA. And during my MBA, I was focused on entrepreneurship. I founded a fintech company, raised some funding for it. I thought that was what I was going to do post MBA. And one of my classmates kind of tapped me on the shoulder about this ActionStep opportunity. She had gone to uni with our VP of sales at the time and heard about the opportunity and said, hey, this seems like an interesting business, interesting opportunity. Have a look. And so I had a chat with 𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗃, actually, and he kind of sold me on the vision of ActionStep and where we're going. And it sounded like a really good company, really good culture, a really interesting product. And yeah, but I don't think I was prepared for how ready the market was in the UK for a platform like ActionStep and the exponential growth that we've had in the last 4 years.
So why is that? Like, what was the hole in the market that ActionStep's filled?
I mean, there's a legacy of great practice management software in the UK. There's some really, really functionally rich, robust systems that have been around for decades. And probably 80% of mid-sized law firms are still using those systems even today. They're functionally rich around workflow, around billing and accounting. They're all-in-one systems, so they usually have their own DMS and things like that. So it's been challenging for mid-sized firms to move away from that technology because of how much time they've invested, how much money they've invested in customizing that tech over the years. And they haven't really had a modern cloud solution out there to migrate to. Some of the other more modern cloud solutions in the market are very rigid. They're sort of turnkey, out-of-the-box type systems, which are good for some firms, but for a mid-sized firm that might do most areas of law and has heavily customized their system over the years, those aren't suitable. So ActionStep has always been very flexible. It was built with flexibility in mind natively through our admin panel and configuration and through our workflow engine, but also through our API. We have a really robust API, an open API that allows for significant extensibility of the platform and significant integration. And as an independent company, we're really open to integrating with lots of different types of tech partners. So that flexibility that the API and that the actual configuration within ActionStep brings is really what these firms have been kind of waiting for. And so after I kind of got the lay of the land of the legal tech market and of ActionStep, I realized that mid-market is our sweet spot. That's where we really want to be focusing, and that's where there's a huge hole in the market. So we started focusing on mid-market law firms, and I think it was the right product at the right time, and we've been able to bring a ton of mid-sized law firms on to ActionStep in the last 4 years.
What's the impact on those guys of actually bringing a system in like yours?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, one, it's a future-proof platform, so it gives them comfort that, hey, we're not just choosing a system for 3, 4, 5 years. We're choosing a system for 20, or more. This is a platform that we can build upon, that we can iterate on. A mid-sized firm might do, spend 6 months or 9 months or however long implementing ActionStep, making sure that everything comes over the data as it needs to be, that the system's customized, all the integrations are plugged in, the change management and training that's needed as well for these firms to make sure that the staff adopt the system properly and are using it properly. That's a huge lift. But then beyond that, there's so much more opportunity to continue to iterate and refine as your firm changes and grows. And with how much the industry is already being impacted by AI, a lot of firms don't know what their systems and processes and what their firm is going to look like in 2 years. And on legacy technology that isn't as flexible and that isn't cloud-based, it's very challenging to be agile and adopt new tech. So I think for a management team, a law firm, it's very exciting that they've got a modern platform that they can, if there is a really cool new AI tool that they want to adopt, they can plug that in and be up and running very quickly because we've got a modern platform with all their data that is more, accessible, AI ready, things like that. So I think that's a key thing for them is this ActionStep is helping them prepare for the future. Also, I think retention is a big thing with like talent retention. Like really good lawyers don't want to spend hours and hours and hours doing admin. I mean, no one wants to, but actually the most talented people will want to spend the least amount of time doing admin. They want to do what they're really good at. And so ActionStep obviously is built with automation in mind, efficiency, reducing manual tasks. So through our workflow engine and just through, again, this kind of connected ecosystem where all the data syncs across different platforms. There's not a bunch of duplicate data entry or things like that. That's critical for these firms because it helps them retain really good talent, have them focused on the right things. And it's actually a question that's asked quite often in interviews, especially with more kind of junior lawyers. They ask what case management system,
absolutely,
management system.
Yeah, they do.
So knowing that they're on a modern system, it kind of it shapes the way a lawyer sees the firm, the culture, all of that. So so I would say that's another kind of key area. Also, security is a big thing that leadership is thinking about, and ActionStep's an incredibly secure platform, are much more secure than an on-premise system. Even though there is sometimes a feeling that I have my data on my own server, it's very safe. It's not the same as having AWS behind you, where probably no one in the world is investing more on security and infrastructure than AWS. And so having a modern platform, a cloud platform with that type of infrastructure can give them a lot of comfort around security.
I think one of the things I sort of hooked onto, you said then, it was actually around AI.
Yeah.
I mean, AI is only as good as the data you're working with.
Yeah.
And if you've got a good data repository and you've got things organized the right way, you can capture information quite easily, then it's valuable. Yeah. Otherwise...
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually, with some of these older systems, it can be very hard for AI. In some cases, it's not even possible for an AI to actually interrogate that data and make that data useful. So that's something we've invested a lot in the last kind of 6 to 12 months at ActionStep, is that sort of data infrastructure and making that data, usable and AI ready.
What's the use cases for AI you're seeing with law firms?
Well, so there's a lot of the the kind of obvious ones around legal research or document drafting or review, some of that stuff. We're already starting to see more and more of that. A lot of law firms are using AI in a kind of less than ideal, less governed way, where they might have some sort of AI governance policy or a light governance policy, but they've got lawyers that are using ChatGPT or other types of things. They might be using Copilot or like an enterprise version of ChatGPT. So there is, it feels like a little bit like the wild, wild west right now with a lot of firms, and they're rapidly trying to implement governance policies and stuff just to make sure that things aren't slipping through the cracks. It's very risky for law firms to use AI with client data and things like that if they don't have a really robust policy and processes and the right training in place. But actually, the way we're thinking about AI, there's amazing tools. There's probably 300 different platforms here today that are doing that are focused on what we call the practice of law. So again, legal research, document drafting, document review. There aren't that many that we've seen that are really focused on the business and the management of law, or there are some, but that's where we want to be investing as a company, because ActionStep is so focused on that as a business, the business of law, the management of law, and reducing manual processes, reducing admin burden, improving things like reporting, business intelligence, billing, all, those types of processes. And actually, some of the most exciting use cases for us are, and they're actually very exciting for our customers, but they aren't maybe as flashy, are things like search. I mean, search has fundamentally changed in the last 2 years, where we used to go to Google and we would search for something. Now, for me, I actually don't search. If I'm searching for an information or an answer, I don't go to Google first. I go to ChatGPT, search engine. And so contextualizing what you're asking for and providing a better response and a deeper response as well in many cases, that is so useful. And a lot of us have adopted ChatGPT and now are used to that. So bringing that type of functionality into our platform, where in your practice management system, with your files and with everything that is relevant to you as a fee earner or as an admin person at a law firm, being able to search for anything and it comes up in a contextualized way versus kind of the Google type search. That's one area that we're investing in from an AI standpoint. Yeah, there's a handful of others. Things like agentic workflow is really, we're already starting to explore that because we've got a great workflow engine, but if we can kind of take bite-sized parts of that workflow and automate a lot of tasks within there. There's kind of that crossover that we talk about a lot between AI and automation. We actually call it intuitive automation, or IA, and you can't really have those two things. You can't separate those because they're very intertwined, but we're investing not only in AI, but also intuitive automation to continue to improve automation and take kind of human processes, like the best human processes, and automate those. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that we're thinking about.
That is actually super interesting. So I think there's a whole bunch of inefficiency around dealing with dealing with clients and actually capturing information and going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. You can actually use, I guess, agentic AI to do some of that work and the heavy lifting. That'd be amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. Just trying to, free up lawyers to do what they do best, which is client service, actually the practice of law, and spend as little time as possible on admin, but also tighten up all of their processes around admin, data capture.
And one of the things that actually in the marketplace is that, you've got a fantastic partner network of people that implement the software. Change management is very much baked into that. So there's a lot of effort put around change management.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say that, besides yes, we have great product. Yes, we have an incredible team in the UK of really, really knowledgeable people with years and decades of legal tech expertise, legal PMS expertise. But I would say that actually probably one of the other greatest contributors to our growth and its success here has been our partner network. That's always been a focus of us globally, having really trusted partners that deliver ActionStep, that deliver the training, implementation, data migration, and they're not just experts in ActionStep, but they're experts in oftentimes the wider legal tech sector and other products. They know about the source data from these other systems, and they can transform that really easily. So these are experts at what they do, and they're out there as well, in the market talking to law firms. Some of our implementation partners have done hundreds of implementations, and so they've seen so many different ways of doing things. And they've seen the pitfalls that some firms make. So they're truly trusted advisors for these firms, and they can help them through this journey. Because hopefully, a lot of these firms, especially mid-sized firms, they might not have changed their practice management system in the last 10, 20 years. And hopefully they don't have to again in the next 10, 20 years. And so it's really important to get it right, to understand the risks and the pitfalls, and also to look at it as an opportunity to improve process, to really get the tech and the ecosystem that you want and that you envision for the future. But also around that partner ecosystem, got so many incredible integration partners, and we've learned a lot from them as well. And we're always open to new entrants that are doing things in really clever different ways. I've had 3 meetings already today. It's only 11 or 12 in the morning, and I've had 3 meetings already with really innovative AI companies who are here today who we're exploring partnership with. I think one thing that we're quite passionate about is every law firm is slightly different and has their own kind of ideal set of solutions and tools that they want to be part of their ecosystem. And we want to enable that through our platform, through investing in our API, in our infrastructure. And I think that's part of the fun of this change management process is actually starting to rethink what tools you want, what tools you need, what ones you don't need, and then how they all work together. And that's been a huge driver for our growth as well, because we've got maybe 40 so integrations already in the UK, and we're always adding more. I think we've added 2 new ones just this week. We had one that we released on Tuesday.
You guys got an incredible growth story.
Yeah.
Particularly this region is just on fire, I think.
Yeah, it's been incredible. As I said, I couldn't have expected this when I started with ActionStep. It's been obviously great product market fit, great timing in the market, and just a really, really good team of people here in the UK, just completely focused on our customers, helping them get the best out of their tech. And we're we still feel like we're only just getting started though in the UK. There's so much more space, green space to go after. And we're just going to keep going after it. We're building the team. Our team's grown in the UK from a couple people to over 20 now.
Wow.
And our revenue's grown by actually about 40x in the UK. 40x, yeah.
My goodness.
We're just trying to continue that growth, push the boundaries on innovation, learn from all these different firms and the ways that they're approaching their tech and the things that they're trying to do that's really innovative. Some of the stuff that we've seen that our customers are doing with ActionStep is amazing. We're constantly seeing firms that have done things that we didn't even know was possible with the software, with the system, and the kind of extensibility of ActionStep. So we're trying to, as much as we can, kind of bottle up that knowledge and share that amongst other customers in the market. Obviously, law firms have to keep some of it sensitive because they compete against one another, but there's actually a really nice kind of camaraderie amongst a lot of mid-sized law firms in the UK who are on the same systems where they want to share best practices, they want to collaborate. And so a big focus of ours this year is, as our customer base has grown so much now, trying to bring them together as much as we can and just help them sharpen each other, share ideas, and then and actually gather feedback from them so that we can improve our product. Our roadmap, which we've just started sharing in the last couple of weeks, is almost based exclusively on feedback from partners and from customers. We've spent 6 months going through capturing all that feedback, using a really kind of robust prioritization framework to determine what we're going to invest in. And it's the most ambitious and aggressive and exciting roadmap I've ever seen since I've been at ActionStep, and potentially even in this, like, in the legal tech space.
You guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you so much again for coming by, and hope it's a great show.